There we go. God dang. Yeah. I mean, I have perfect internet, and it was saying my internet was weird. And I was like, it's not on my end. So I guess it was on StreamYard. But hello, Gun Nation. How's everyone doing this evening? Hope y'all are doing well. And we have Mr. Chris from the 740. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for the invite. I've been excited about this since you texted me yesterday and said let's do a show. So it's been a while since I've been on.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's always fun to have you on. You know, I always like, you know, we got all our little groups and, you know, people we enjoy. And of course, I enjoy everybody else out there that has a channel. But, you know, Chris and I have a lot in common. And, you know, Trigger Bar, you know, we all kind of like-minded people. And of course, big supporters of the 2A community. And we kind of share the same subscribers and gain more on each side. So always a good, fun time. But I definitely wanted to have him on. So what are you drinking this evening, sir?
Coors Light tonight.
Coors Light. Okay, I've got what is this? It's a new whiskey I got, or bourbon, and it's called Rendition. Yeah, that's what it's called, a Rendition. I don't know much about it. It's the first time I've ever had it, and it's actually pretty good. I mean, first bottle I had it, I think, last or the week before or something. But yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, we're going to talk about that IBG, but let me do just a real quick roll call. You know, I got a bunch of questions that we want to get into with Chris. And, you know, I love all y'all, but we got Lynn Holt in the house, Dennis Buckner. Of course, we got Chris from the 740. Let's see. Pistol Pete's in the house, and he is saying that Smith & Wesson dropped their new PCC. So y'all can check that out. I haven't seen it yet. Chris was just checking it out. We got Chessboard in the house, Floridian, Mr. Flow Rider himself. And I'm sure more will jump in here. Rich B's in the house. Let's see here. Clyde Cumberland's in the house. Jamie Sanchez, Tactical FUD, IBG. And IBG, I am going to answer that question. And we got Lake Ozark guy. Matter of fact, we'll just go ahead and answer this question right now. I did some thinking, you know, and I was thinking about getting a DWX full size and all this other stuff. But the more and the more I think about it, you know, y'all have probably all heard me talk about this circle where I started with 1911s. They didn't have 2011s then. 1911s, revolvers, you know, and striker fire, and kind of go around all this circle and everything. Then I'm back to 2011s or 1911, 2011s. But the more and more and more I think about it, if I had a DWX, yes, I've got tons of mags for it for the P10C, so that would be great. But at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, what's better than a 2011? I'm not saying I have the best 2011s. You've got Atlas, you've got, you know, all these other, you know, fancy brands, Infinities and things like that. But would I shoot the DWX as much as I shoot the 2011s? I don't know. I really don't think I would. So it could just be another gun I buy. And I'm not saying I'm not going to get it, but I pretty much told myself I don't need it. So that's kind of where I am with it. You know, have you thought about getting, you know, the DWX or anything like that, Chris?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of like you. I mean, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, you know, even like a Shadow 2, like I love the gun. It's a great shooting gun. Every time I get a chance to shoot one, I'll shoot it. But I'm kind of like you. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I think I'm just going to go ahead and spend a little more, and I'm going to go into a 2011. So
yeah, and you know, I even thought about this: the DWX, you know, Shadow 2. They're very comparable. One's double action, single action, one's single action. But I still have a hinged trigger. There's nothing wrong with a hinged trigger. I mean, I've got plenty of them. But I do prefer a straight pull, which is a 2011, over a hinged trigger, even though it's single action, or excuse me, on some of those like a TSO. But I know the DWX has the 2011 type trigger, but a lot of that stuff is not compatible. Like I can't change the trigger if I want to. There's just some things I can't change about it if I ever wanted to. Not saying I would, but, you know, and then I would have to get it milled, and then I would, you know, probably Cerakote it and trick it all out, and then it might just sit there. You know, I just don't know. That's probably why I need to shoot one first and then see. That's probably what I need to do before I say, yeah, I'm going to buy one. Hello, A-Dubs. Hello, Scott. Hope y'all are all doing well. Yeah, new CZs nickel and dimes you to death. Yeah, Brian, I agree with that. Yeah, and then I did want to talk about this. Casey's bringing up the Heritage P 4.15. That's the new staccato. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen this one.
Okay, what it is, if you go back and you look at the original 2019 staccato, a lot of people, such as Threat Cadre, a good friend of mine, he says the 2019 staccato P is the best staccato P that you can buy. And he's got the newer ones. He's, shot the aluminums, all that stuff. But he said that is the best, perfect size, perfect dust cover, all that other stuff. So CZ released basically a rendition of that, and they're calling it the Heritage 4.15. Is it a must for me? No, because I already have all the stuff that I need. But would it be a good option for people? Yeah, I think it would be. If you don't have a P and you want a P, I think that would be a really good option. Just has a little bit different look and, things like that. But it's kind of going back to kind of the OG of it. So it's a heritage edition, or it's in their heritage lineup. But
are they pricing them like this? Is there a difference in the price? Like if you go with the heritage versus just going with the modern P now?
As far as I know, they're pretty much the same price.
Same.
I don't think they decreased it or anything like that. Now, I don't know if they're going to have a heritage irons only or a heritage DPO option. I don't know that, but that was kind of their, hey, we're going to come out with something new, so to say. And granted, it's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. I mean, they've had it before, but a lot of people, if you kind of know the staccato market, a lot of people even currently are trying to find used 2019 staccato Ps because everybody says it's the OG, and even Threat Cadre says it shoots. That's his favorite handling or, recoil feeling. He just said everything about it's perfect. So maybe this new heritage one will be perfect also. So I don't know. So we'll have to see. Hello, Matt Moore. How are you? Jamie's asking if I have drank old Par Scotch. I have not. I'm not a huge Scotch drinker. I have some of it. What is it, Glenfiddich? I have some of the Scotch, but I'm just not a huge Scotch drinker. I'm not saying it's bad. So, but now as far as what's going on, with you, your channel, what are you kind of getting more into, or is there anything that's kind of caught your eye or your attention or anything recently?
The channel's been doing great. We just hit 5K yesterday, so that was freaking awesome. I've been waiting for that one to come and hit. Thank you. So that was an awesome day. And then you text me and said, "Hey, let's do a show," and I'm like, "This is a good day." So
yeah.
I'm kind of thinking about. I've been thinking about maybe picking up one of the new Gerson 2311s just to kind of try it out. I mean, the price is right on it, so I don't know if I want to go 9 or if I want to go 10. If I want to go full size or do I want to go more of the carry? I haven't decided yet. But
yeah. Speaking of that, I've gotten about 19 or 20 comments about, are you going to buy one? Have you bought one? Do you have one on order? What do you think about it? The same thing. Matter of fact, hell, even some of the subscribers hit me up and was like, hey, they're sending me the videos. Hey, here, it's out now. It's out now. And I'm like, hey, I think it's a great option for a lot of people, but do I need it? No. Would I buy it and just, or and I've said this numerous times, I guess sometimes, people may forget, but I don't just buy guns to review and then sit there. I already have 4 2011s. I don't know if I need 5 or 6. And I know which one I would shoot more. I'm not downgrading the gun. It's probably a great gun, but I just know what's dependable and what's been working for me and have a crap load of rounds through it. So, I
No,
just
I
don't.
agree. I mean, like with the staccatos and all that, you don't have you really have no reason to get one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I had my hands on it at SHOT Show, which it was kind of a prototype at that point, and then got my hands on it again at NRAM, and I really do like it. I don't think the trigger's as good in it as what you're going to get with the staccato. It's got a little more take up,
Yep.
per se, than a more higher end 2011, but it's got a nice short reset. Trigger pull doesn't feel heavy. It's just there's a little bit of slop there that you don't get with the staccatos. So.
Yeah, and I'll just tell you this from experience. A lot of, and I'm not downgrading the gun or anything like that. Please don't anybody take it that way. But when you're dealing with a lot of MIM parts, which the sear is going to be MIM, the hammer is going to be MIM, the trigger, I mean, everything's going to be MIM. You can't get that fine, crisp, milling on it because it's MIM. It's not billet or, so you're kind of stuck with what you want, or you can buy that, and I'm sure it'll take an EGW kit. So you could buy the EGW kit just like you can on the Springfield Prodigy, and you can change all that out to billet, and hard metal, steel parts to where you could get a nicer trigger and things like that. But is it worth buying that gun and putting that money into it? Because it's only like, I think last I checked, I think they were like $250 for a whole kit, something like that, 220, 250. So in that case, yeah, I mean, hell, you could have a really great gun and use it as kind of like a starting point, because you've already got the frame and everything. But it's if you like that frame, if you like the way it's set up. But you can do anything you want. It's just money. And then if you do invest in it, and this is the way I look at it too, if you do buy an inexpensive gun and then invest that in it, if you ever want to sell it, you're never going to get that money back. Or most people would probably just keep it because it would run fine. And then you've got an inexpensive 2011. So, you can look at it that way too. But Matt is asking if either of us have any experience with the new Trijicon RMR HD, the new Trijicon dot.
I do not.
Yeah, I have absolutely no. I haven't even seen one in person. I've seen the videos like probably all of y'all have. I have not seen one in person. I kind of wanted to get it or play around with it, see what I thought about it. I mean, being Trijicon, it should be a good option. I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about it, but I don't know yet. I mean, I don't know what my opinion would be. Being Trijicon, I mean, I think it would be good, but I don't know.
Yeah, they were at the AIM day I was at Saturday in the spring, but they didn't come down to the fall one.
Okay.
Holosun was there, and they had the new night vision dot and the new thermal, and I was having a lot of fun playing around with that thermal out in the parking lot. So,
thermals are. Have you had a thermal before?
Now I've just got night vision scopes, but
okay, yeah, the thermals are awesome. I mean, they're a lot of fun. You could like take it off. If you've got a quick release, most of them, the better ones do. But you can take it off and use it as a monocular and then throw it on. And they will hold. Like I've mounted mine on with quick release, American Defense mount, and shot it, taking it off, using it as a monocular, snapped it back on, and it keeps perfect. It doesn't switch. It doesn't mess up your settings or anything like that, But
what shocked me was I was talking to the rep that they had there, and they've drove that price down on that thermal a lot because they were originally like kind of talking that was going to be around a $3,000 optic, and then back towards the beginning of summer they were posting stuff on different magazines and online articles saying it was going to be around $2,300, but he told me it was going to be $1,499.
Wow.
And I think the night vision option is going to be $1,299, maybe $999. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that thermal saying, and I was like, $1,500 for a thermal optic is cheap. It's expensive, cheap. But it's cheap for what you're getting. So
yeah. Now, and did it have a light? infrared light attached to
Yeah,
it.
they both have that built in too.
Yeah. But I mean, I was going to say they have to have it, but some are external and some are built in. And usually, if they're built in, they're much more expensive than just having it on the outside of it. But that's awesome. That's a great price.
Yeah, and they're heavy. I mean, they got some weight to them, but there's a lot there too. So
yeah. And this question I do actually get asked a lot, and I wanted to, Brian brought it up, so this is great. From all the gun people asking you to buy, or for all the guns people ask you to buy, I couldn't afford a YouTube channel. Do you ever feel, like when people are like, hey, buy this and test it out and let me know, buy this. And, I mean, I know you get the questions like I get the questions. I mean, and there are people who just buy guns simply to review and then sell them off, and things like that. And I don't know if you do any of that, but, what do you think, or put it this way, is a gun channel expensive for you to run, like in your opinion?
Oh, extremely. Yeah.
And I would say that too. And this is why I've told myself this way back when. I've been preaching this forever. I don't buy guns just to review and just have on the channel. I buy guns that I want and that, that I think that are going to be good guns for the long haul and things like that. Now, in the past, has everything worked out? No. But, I'm not a buyer for a review. I don't do that. I won't. I never have. I buy things that I plan on keeping and want to enjoy. So that does help you save money when you're looking at it from that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started out, people are like, I'd buy a red dot or something. And they're like, oh, you didn't slam it on the ground or you didn't. And I'm like, I paid for this. Like, yeah. I'm not doing that. Like, and then, even when I started getting sponsors with different, I do a lot of work with Gideon Optics. Yeah. I got guys that'll say, well, you didn't pour water on it. You didn't rack it off and I'm like, okay, listen, guys, like I'm not going to be abusing this dot like this. Like, yeah. I'll carry it for you for a few months and I'll come back, let you know, normal wear and tear. I'll shoot it in the rain because that could happen. Yeah. But it's like, guys, granted, I might've got the dot for free, but I just spent maybe a couple $100 in reloaded ammunition, doing all the videos I did to test this out. So or I'll steer him I'll say, well, go watch this guy because he just ran it over with a truck. If you want to see what. But yeah, it's like we were talking in the back chat though. It's hard to keep everybody happy.
It is, and that's why at the end of the day, I've always said this. I'm going to do what I want to do, and hopefully people come along for the ride, and respect my opinions. I respect theirs, but you're going to get haters. You're going to get crazy comments. Or you're going to get it all. So. Yeah. It kind of is what it is. I did want to bring this up though too, and I did have it written down. CZ bought Vista Outdoors, and Vista Outdoors owns CCI, Federal, and Spear. So they actually bought them for $1.9 billion. And also, if you really read the article, it said they bought it and they have to pay cash. So I'm like, I mean, not meaning like here's a check, but you know what I mean. And I think it's supposed to process through into this next year. But I agree with Pistol Pete because I was going to bring that up. I think this is a really good thing for us. I don't know if they were having money problems in the past. I don't know what it was, or if it was just an opportunity to purchase it. But they've got Colt now. Now they're going to have an ammunition line. I think it's going to be really good things for us. I don't think they're going to. Also, I think in the article they were talking about not, moving facilities or uprooting anything. I think they're just going to take ownership of it. So, that's a good thing, I think. But
yeah, I heard about it last night kind of late, and I'm like, because I'm a big time, I reload a lot of ammunition, and I'm like, that's like two of my biggest primer companies right there, CCI and Federal. So I hope it ends up being a good thing and not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, only time will tell. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know everything. It is what it is. We'll just have to ride the boat and see how it goes. I've been asked this a lot. Maybe you have too, and also you're a reloader. I am not. But do you predict with all this stuff that's happening? Do you predict that ammo we're going to run into another shortage like we did before?
I think there's a strong possibility. It normally it seems to affect the reloaders last because the ammo starts to disappear, and then you got a bunch of people that are going, well, I'm going to start reloading. A lot of that, but then a lot of it's like, they start ramping up production, and then that can pull primers away from us too, because, well, we have to meet this need. I think one of the big differences we'll have now that we didn't have before, like during the cough, whatever we want to call it, but
Yeah.
we didn't have Palmetto State Armory new ammo line at that time, and the Remington factory wasn't back up and running yet, which it is now.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say if it's going to affect us or not.
Yeah,
I
and that's
mean,
what I've been saying. It is. I mean, I've always said this. Get what you need, get what you think you're going to need. Don't get caught behind the ball if it does happen. But I don't think you should run out and do a bunch of panic buying. And I mean, buy for what you truly think you're going to need. And this is, and I mean, you are probably the same way. I know you actually reload. I don't, but I'm still running on ammo that I bought in 2012, 2015. Now I have other stuff I've added to it, but I try to rotate it through. So, I stocked up way back when they were like $8.99 a box and shit like that. I mean, that's when I was really buying thousands and thousands and thousands of 9 because you could get them for, what was it, like 149,
yeah.
139 with free shipping. I mean, it was just crazy stuff.
I learned my lesson years ago after we had the Newtown shooting and stuff like that. It was like, when things are good and everything's there, buy it. I mean, you don't need to go there and buy 5,000 rounds, but stop in there once a week and grab you, a few hundred rounds, and then that way when something like this happens, because it's always going to happen. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a presidency, if it's a war. There's always going to be something that's going to trigger a panic buy. So
yeah. And I mean, we've got, election crap going on. We've got UFOs flying in the sky. We've got, war, all this crap's breaking out. So something's going to pop, and like you said, with the Newtown stuff, with the mags, hell, people were buying like P mags. You could, if you sold them on the secondary market, like $100 and $60 and all this crazy crap, that's why I've always said mags and ammo, you got to feed them. So, that's what I'm a big believer in having. Not saying you need 9 million guns, but you need mags and ammo to feed those guns, whatever you have currently. So I don't predict it's going to go crazy. You got IAAC and all that other stuff, ammo now, and like you said, Remington and stuff. So hopefully we won't run into that, but I would still be prepared and have some. Don't just, get caught with your shorts down and have nothing. But, and then, we got trigger bar in the house too. Let's see here. I had another question for you. I get asked this question a lot. Or, hey, let's answer this question. Brian's got a question for you.
Yeah, Brian, that's a good one. You and I actually had this discussion the other night when you were out in the side chat. If you don't want the dot to hang over, you could go with the Judge, and you can get that in a red or a green. If you don't care about a little bit of hangover on the slide, I really like their Rock. Those would make 2 good ones. But the only enclosed emitter dot that they have out right now is the Mediator, and it's a big dot. It's about the same size as the Kraken or the Sealy Bear. So, but yeah, I have all 5 now. I got one more review to do. I haven't done anything with the Apollo yet, but for a Shadow 2, I'd probably go with the Judge or the Rock, and I guess since we answered that, we can kind of go into Clyde's comment real quick, because he asked about thoughts on a red or a green dot. And the first 3 Gideons I got were red. Now the last 2 I got were green. And I'm starting to really like green because it doesn't affect my astigmatism.
Okay.
So, and the Gideon green is super bright. Like it kind of shocked me how bright the green was. So I'm not really having any issues with it in direct sunlight or anything. So, but yeah, I think probably with my eyes getting older and the astigmatism's getting worse, I'm probably going to start moving more towards green dots from here on out.
Yeah, and see, that's, I've kind of been asked that same question too, as far as would I prefer the green or the red, and I've got experience with both. Way more experience with red. I only have 2 green dots, and I've got a ton of red. In my opinion, in the ones that I've tested and personally ran with the green, I'm just being honest and I've got dual stigmatisms. I can't tell a huge difference personally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but here's where I'll go. If I'm using fiber optics only, such as irons, but a fiber optic, I do prefer green. So I keep thinking, just the more exposure I have to the green and things like that, I might end up liking the green. But with what I've tested so far, there's not a pro or a con for either one for me. I mean, I pick up both of them fine. I will say this, it seems like, and I don't know if this is just those particular green dots that I have, but I do seem to get a little more blistering from the green. I can work through it, but just on these 2 samples of Holosuns,
yeah,
it's a little more blistering on the green than it is on the red. And I've heard people say the opposite. So just like what you said. So not on a Holosun, but I mean on a green. So if I got a different brand of green, maybe it would be different. I don't know.
And I think astigmatism kind of affects everybody differently. I mean, we don't, I know, like, there's another channel that I'm friends with, RTAC. He said when he looks at a red dot, it's just a big old blotch. And, so luckily mine's not that bad.
Yeah. And I can get, I can crank it up and have a lot of blistering. But even I look at it this way, when I look at, and of course, like the Acro P2, the Steiner, those are much more cleaner, more precise, even if I crank them up, than some of my other dots. It's just the way that they're made. Not saying they're better or any of that. That's just the way it is for my eye. But, even if I get the blistering, I just kind of, on every dot I have, I'll kind of find the thicker mass of it if I have to crank it up. And then that's my focal point, or that's my, that's what I'm aiming. So you might get, I've heard of people say they get a little comet, they get a big blister, there's all different ways people are going to see it. So, that's going to be, everybody's eyes are different. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I might like green if I just only shot green for a long time. I just haven't done that yet. Hello, Abigail. How are you?
I've had some green dots, like a lot cheaper, like way down in the budget type dots, and I never cared for the green because I never thought it was bright enough. But now what I'm seeing with Gideon now, I'm really liking the green. So I haven't had a chance to try a green Holosun yet, but
yeah, and I don't think that they're bad. I just have 2 green Holosuns, and I mean, I've got the 508T, and what's the other one? 507. I think it's a 507 green, or maybe it's it's a 50. It's the K, so it's the 50K or 507K or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And like I said, they don't bother me either way. I just think that I'm seeing crisper with the Holosun red over the Holosun green. But like I said, a different brand, it probably might change that. So Pistol Pete saying he likes the green. And then also, as far as, do you think, like as far as lowers and all that other stuff, do you think that's, all of those are going to be, everybody's going to be freaking out and panic buying those again?
I don't really think so. Because even with the stuff that went on, I mean, even back during the other thing there, I mean, I didn't have any problems getting lowers or uppers.
Yeah.
I know we did years back, during the Obama years and stuff like that, that stuff was disappearing. But
Yeah.
um,
I mean, there's a bunch of good deals on stuff now. Like I said, if you need something, you might grab it if you need it. I always say, buy it when you can. If you've got the money or the extra income, go ahead and grab it, because I don't know if anything's gonna like just go super lower than it is now, because there's just so much out there that's just sitting on shelves. They've got to clean that stuff out, and who knows what Black Friday is going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be great or if it's just going to be, hey, we got this crap that's been sitting here forever and we need to move it. I don't know if it's going to be much lower than it is now. It could be. I get asked this question all the time too, so I wanted to throw it up to you, and of course the chat members out there. When you're looking for like kind of a go-to rifle, or just your normal setup, it doesn't have to be a long range setup, but your normal setup, do you prefer a red dot and a magnifier or an LPVO?
For me, it's LPVO.
Okay. And what do you like, in your opinion, what does it do for you? What's the benefit of it, in your opinion?
For me, if I've gotten I've done a lot of practice and training and stuff, turning that thing all the way down on one, and then using like the brightest, because we all know like prism optics, they're not that bright when we turn them even up to the highest setting. It's not like a red dot. So an lighted reticle and LPVO is kind of the same way. But one of the newer optics I've gotten, I haven't even done anything with it on the channel, but I got my first primary arms Raptor, and their lighted reticle system it's not as bright as a red dot, but it's the brightest I've seen in LPVO. But I like the option of being able to turn that all the way down on one power and kind of use it like a red dot, but then still having that magnification if I want to go out, further than 100 yards or whatever, on an AR. But I've messed around with the red dots and magnifiers, but the starbursting is a lot worse when I put that magnifier in behind the red dot. It's hard to get good eye relief with a magnifier. Like that thing's just got to be set up perfect, and they weigh a lot. Magnifiers are heavy.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't really like them. I have ARs set up with them, but I always tend to want to go back to my LPVO.
Yeah. And I've got, multiple of both setups, and I would agree with you on, and I've got 1-6s and all that other stuff, but, and I will tell you the brightest freaking dot I've ever seen on LPVO is the Razor HD.
Yeah,
that thing it's just stupid bright. Even in like major brightest daylight, it's super bright. So I do appreciate it for that, but you're going to pay for it too. But it is super clear. So when you're dealing with like a 1-6 or maybe a 1-8 or something like that, LPVO is awesome. And if you could have like a side reticle on the side, if you wanted that, but if you've got your little flipper arm, or I use a lot of those deep sea reels, whatever the hell they're called. I can't even think of the name of it. I got videos on it, but you can buy those things for like $4, and it does the same purpose. And it gives you a big old thumb thing to flip over. I use a lot of those. But I really do enjoy the LPVOs, but with the 193, and I do prefer a 193 mount, other than if you're in the prone. I do prefer an LPVO there, but on a lot of other rifles, I still do have the magnifiers and the dots, because you can always rip a magnifier off with a quick detach if you don't want it, or to lessen the weight. If you're going to be doing stuff up close, and if you've got, I would just say if you've only got one rifle, you might want an LPVO with a side dot, just in case something happened. But if you've got multiple rifles, just have multiple setups.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of look at it.
I do tend to like the red dot magnifier setup on my AR pistols.
Yeah.
On the shorter stuff, it's nice to have. I very rarely would ever use the magnifier, but it is nice to be able to throw that over and have that extra 3 power if you need it.
Yeah, especially with my aging eyes, man. You know, if
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a dot and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I can hit a dot," or I can use a dot out to 200 meters or whatever. I'm like, shit, man, that's awesome for you. There's no way I can. Uh, you
I'm
know,
good to about 50 yards.
that's what I was gonna say. I'm not gonna fib, and you know, I don't bullshit. But yeah, 50 yards, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, try to take another little stare at it. So yeah, my eyes are definitely not what they used to be. And you know what's crazy? It's probably the most impressive shooter, and I'll brag on him a little bit. You know, I've shot with XRing, you know,
Oh,
personally,
yeah.
and that guy is a freak. I mean, with a red dot, just a plain Jane red dot. He's taking that shit out to 250 yards with a freaking red dot, and I'm like, Ray, what the hell? I mean, like, you know, it's crazy. You know, he just has those eagle eyes. But you know, it's very, very impressive watching him shoot with a red dot where everybody else is, you know, magnifier or LPBO. He's using a freaking red dot. So
How's he doing now? Is he doing better?
yeah, I mean, he's been pumping out a bunch of videos. So I mean, I haven't talked to him in a little while. I've texted him, but you know, I didn't get deep in the weeds on what happened. But I think he's, you know, from the videos he's been pumping out, I think he's doing a lot better. So that's
See,
really good.
we start talking about X-ring, and look who shows up, Bald's out there.
Yeah, well, Ball shot with him too. I
Yep.
mean, that guy can shoot with it, you know. I mean, he can shoot too, but his vision, I'm just like, how the hell do you see that through a red dot? But, you know, from his past, that's what he's done. Now, David has a question. What are your thoughts on the Hollow Sun EPS? Have you played with it at all?
I haven't.
Yeah.
No.
I have played with it. I haven't put one on a gun, but I've played with it a lot in the store. And I mean, I've been like, okay, I'm going to buy one. But then I'm like, what dot am I going to take off to put it on? You know, I probably will get one, but I think it's a really good option. It's much, much smaller than an Acro or a Steiner or any of that. Um, you know, and you still have the closed emitter. So I think it's a very good option. I would highly recommend it. The people that I trust, they run them and really like them. So
Yep, I think Big J froze. Well, I know. So I saw a comment out there for me earlier. Somebody asked me if I've used Swamp Fox optics, and yes, I've got quite a few. They're good. They're good optics. I don't know how good they're going to be in the future because one of the main guys is not there anymore. But I've got the Kraken, the Justice, the Sentinel, the Liberator. They're all good dots. So whoever asked that question, they're about right there with Hollow Sun. So, oh boy, I guess I've taken over the show, guys. Hopefully, he will be back. You're welcome, Lake Ozark. So, all right. Big J's here. He'll be back in a second. Let's see. I see that, Pistol Pete. That's good. Wish I could highlight your comments, but I can't. Thank you, Brian. I like it back here too. It's pretty cool. It was a room addition. When I bought my house, this room addition was actually on the back of this place, and they never finished it. It was just a shell. So I kind of turned this into my office / studio back here. So I enjoy it. .22 mag's going great, Pistol Pete. I just found 4 more brands of ammo we haven't shot on the channel yet. So I'll have a few more videos coming out. I love that gun. I thoroughly enjoy shooting that gun. It is so much fun. No recoil whatsoever. It's loud. It's a fast round. I didn't think I was actually going to like it as much as I did, but it's been a great gun. Double A says, do you have any thoughts on the Icarus grip module? I do not have one. I run a Armory Craft grip module on my 365 XL. And I shoot it pretty well, and I carry it every day, so I just really don't want to mess with it. I love the Icarus grips. They're great. They look awesome, but yeah. Okay, Big J said he is locked out. He said keep going. All right, we're going to keep going. You guys ask the questions, and I'll answer them. William Bader's joined the chat. Good to see you, William. Clyde, so are enclosed better than open? I have my opinion, yes. Especially if you're carrying that, you tend to get a lot of dust and lint and you name it down in that glass, where with the enclosed emitters, it's just not too much of an issue. You can kind of wipe it right off. I would definitely say yes. I hope at some point we kind of start seeing a trend where they're going to make the enclosed emitter dots a little bit smaller. I'm kind of hoping that that's maybe something we're going to start seeing here pretty soon in the near future here. Because some of these dots are, they call them a mailbox for a reason. So hopefully we'll start seeing them get a little smaller. Can someone tell me what the K and C Holosun have the same footprint for a plate? That's a good question. And that one, I don't know if I can answer that right now. I want to say the K is more of your... The K kind of is more of a shield size optic. So I don't know if it has the RMS-C footprint versus where the C has the RMR, but I can't really comment on that one right now. Can't answer that one for you, David. I'm sure somebody out here will know. Lake Ozark guy, the only Gideon optic that uses the RMS-C footprint right now is the Judge. All the rest of them are RMR. Okay, so Len is saying the C is an RMR footprint and the K is their own. Which Gideon would I put on the Rival S? Probably would go with the Mediator if you want an enclosed emitter, or the Apollo. It's their bigger, the bigger optic that's not enclosed, but because the Rival S is a pretty good size gun. I mean, it's a competition gun, so I would probably go with the Apollo, Rich, if I had the Rival S. I still have my old TP9 SFX. Chat is okay. So I guess I was right. Big J says the K is RMS-C and the C is RMR. Double A says the EPS fits the RMR. EPS carry fits the RMS-C, I believe. All right. You're fine, Big J. We're waiting on you. Take your time. Brian Duchesne says the Icarus scripts are too rich for his blood. Price of a 365 plus the module equals a CZ Shadow 2 compact. Yeah. I will be shooting that. I have not got to shoot that Shadow 2 compact, but I will be shooting it here in the next few weeks. One of my good buddies bought one, and we're going to have a range day. So hopefully, he's already done his review on it. So hopefully he'll let me do a review while I'm there. William Bader says he took his 224 out finally. Didn't take long to dial it in at 40 yards. So I take it she got you a 224. Are you talking about the Valkyrie or something else? Buck says, I know nothing about red dots on pistols. So do the plates come with the pistol or with the red dot? Well, that's a good question, Buck. If you buy a Canic, now I don't know about the newer ones, but normally all the Canics used to come with 4 different plates. So you'd have your RMR, you'd have your Delta Point, you'd have your Vortex footprint. When I bought the Taurus G3 Tactical, it came with all the plates in the box. If you buy a Walther, you have to order the plate that you want for your gun. Same with Beretta. If you buy a Beretta, like the APX A1 Tactical I got hanging there, you have to order the optic plate that you want. Walther will give you one free one, but you have to pay for any of the other ones. I do believe the Glock, when I bought my Glock MOS, I believe it came with 3 or 4 different plates. It all depends on the manufacturer. So Rich B says the Canics still come with several plates. So, yeah, Buck, that's just something you want to keep in mind. Taurus will provide you with all the plates. Canic will. Walther, you get one free one, and then you got to buy the rest. Beretta, you have to buy all of them. You have to figure out. Pistol Pete said some come with a coupon for a plate. Yeah, that's basically what Walther does when you buy a PDP or the PDP Pro like I have. Checkmate TSO out there says they are both K. The EPS has a plate for the C and the RMR. And then Pistol Pete says CZ comes with a promise of a plate, but they never fill the promise. Okay, William, that's cool. I have a 224 Valkyrie too. It's not a gun that you see a lot of people have, so pretty cool you got one. I have a 24-inch barrel 224 Valkyrie. So Buck, the Kiger 9 Pro is just cut for RMR. The slide is only for RMR, so you don't have to have a plate. You buy an RMR dot and you can mount it right to the slide. And in my opinion, that's kind of what you want to do, Buck. If you can get a gun that you don't have to use a plate's just another failure point. But most guns nowadays, you got to use plates on them. But that's one thing with your Glock Gen 3 clones like the Kigers, the Daggers, list goes on and on. You can just direct mount your RMR cut optic right to the slide. And I do believe Anderson doesn't, but PSA does offer the Dagger with different footprints. I know they have Vortex for sure, and RMR. Abigail wants to know, what are your thoughts on the 6.5 Grendel round? I have shot 6.5 Grendel. I really like it. And in fact, I've thought about getting a Grendel upper or building one. I like that round. It's a great round. Talking to the long range guys that when I was over in Pennsylvania at the 1,000-yard shoot, they said that they all had Grendels, but they said it's good about the 800-yard mark for them. And then after that, it kind of starts to fall off. But how often are you going to shoot past 800 yards? So I would say if you want a Grendel, I would definitely get a Grendel. Bald said Steel Valley Casting sent him some 158 grain 9mm. Let me know how that goes, Val. Shoot me a text or something, and I'd like to know how those work, because I haven't got to shoot the 158 yet. Brian, I did. It was a pain in the butt reloading the round that I do. I use an 80.5 grain burger bullet with Power Pro 2000 MR. When I took it down to dead zero to shoot 1,000 yards with it, I was going subsonic at about 900 yards. So the targeting system that they have down there wasn't picking up my rounds hitting at 1,000. There he is.
Hello.
Well, I hope I did okay.
No, you did great. StreamYard was like, we're shutting you down. So I'm like, oh shit. So, but go ahead, continue what you were saying. Hello?
I had to blow my nose there. Brian Duchesne was asking me about the 224 Valkyrie, and he was asking me about cycling issues and stuff, and I was cycling fine, but that is a pain in the butt round to reload for. In fact, after the dead zero thing, I kind of scrapped that project. I'm pretty much done with it, because I was going subsonic after somewhere between 800 and 900 rounds. My bullet was going subsonic. So
gotcha. I've never shot a 224, but I've shot a 6.5 Grendel. I like the 6.5 Grendel, but it's, I'm a 308 guy, so it's just, I don't see a reason for me to have one. I mean, but I know that it's a great round.
Yeah, I've shot it. I don't have one yet, but I've thought about getting a Grendel upper. But what I was telling those guys out there in the chat, when I was over in Pennsylvania at that 1,000-yard shoot, all the guys had Grendels, but they said they pretty much didn't push them past 800 yards, that it was just kind of a loss at that point.
Yeah.
But 800 yards is nothing to raise your nose at either.
Damn, look at that. His ears must have been burning. We were talking about him earlier. Yeah, 6mm max. I know that's the new hotness.
I haven't even heard of that one yet.
Yeah, XRing's got some videos on it and all that, and got to go out and test it and all that. But we were talking about your Eagle Eye XRing being able to shoot the freaking red dot without a magnifier like 200 or 250 yards. You're the only one I think that can do that.
No, Lynn, I'm not near Spencer, Tennessee. I'm in the middle of Ohio, but a bunch of us YouTubers meet up in April down there every year at dead zero and shoot.
Oh, you can take it out to 500 yards with a red dot XRing? Holy shit. That's definitely remember that when you were a kid and you had that little bionic $6 million man with the little eye that you could see through the back of his head? XRing will remember that, where you could look through the back of Lee Major's head. Yeah, I was gonna say that's what his eye apparently is. I'm showing my age because people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that is, and I've had a lot of people ask about the plates. I heard y'all were talking about the plates, coming with, in the pistol box for a lot of the optics. I do wish a lot of the manufacturers would include the plates, at least the most common plate, like an RMR plate, or maybe an RMR and / an RMSC, in most of these at least. But, some of these, with Walther, like you can do the coupon thing. And then some, you just like CZ, you just got to go out and find your own. So that kind of sucks, but
yeah,
the
one the company I was the most impressed with was when I bought the Beretta Even though I'm not a big fan of the gun itself, that A1 Tactical APX I bought, man, I would order a plate from them and it was here for like 48 hours. It was
Wow.
They've got some insane shipping speed.
Damn.
Because I have 2 plates for it now. I have the RMR and then I have the Acro plate for it.
Damn, that is fast.
Yeah, they're great. That's the first Beretta I've ever bought. So yeah, customer service, I can't complain about it. But.
Yeah, no lie. And I heard you talking about the enclosed versus the open emitter. I mean, you can use either. It's it is what it is. But I am getting to where I prefer the enclosed a little more, just like what I heard you talk about, and I've talked about before with the belly lint or you're shedding skin or sweating or whatever. Everything kind of goes in that cup. It's just like a big cup, and it just catches.
It's a magnet at the end of the day.
Yeah, it just catches everything. So, with the closed, even if you got that stuff on there, as you're shooting, and I've came up before, and I mean, I can just wipe your thumb right over the back, and you're golden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely has its benefits. Is it that's the only one you should get? No, I mean, a lot of people can't afford them or don't like the big, huge mailbox style, and I get it. But I am preferring more and more the enclosed, and the EPS is kind of the, it's not the big old monster one, but it is, enclosed. So, I mean, that could be a really great option for a lot of people.
Yeah, I hope we start seeing, that's kind of what I was talking about when you were off there. I hope we start seeing that trend that we're going to see all the optic companies start making a little bit smaller enclosed dots.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's kind of where it's going. I'm not saying every, I'm not saying every company will do that, but I think that is where it's a little, where it's kind of heading. And then, like you said, maybe they're just going to start shrinking them up a little bit more so we can, you don't have to have the large ones. But, and I've been asked this, I've got the big old monster ones, the Acro, the Bear, Steiner. A lot of people are like, how the hell do you carry that? Honestly, I notice absolutely no difference between the smaller one and the big mailbox. I notice no difference when I carry it. It doesn't matter to me. So David or actually Abigail's asking you, how long did it take for your Works M6 take to arrive once it shipped?
I can't remember on that. Normally holsters take quite a while for me because I'm left-handed. So everything's got to be custom made for me.
Yeah.
I want to say about 6 weeks, Abigail, I think is what I waited on that.
Okay.
And it's pretty much for me, it's the same with everybody. If I get a Vetter, if I get a Works, it's about a 6-week turnaround for me on those holsters.
Yeah.
Especially because I always add lights to mine. So that takes a little, they're never going to have anything in stock for me, like already made up.
Yeah, you're wrong-handed.
Yeah, I'm wrong-handed.
Yeah. David's asking a question. Does anybody put Chapstick, on their weapon lights? I'm not going to show you the name of these because it's the company name, but I specifically had our company start doing Chapstick because I get them for free. And yes, I'm a big believer in doing the Chapstick on the lights. You don't have to put it on there, like just booger it all on there. Just put a thin little thing and you can wipe it off. Also, if you have excess, that builds up on there, XRing's talking about, or where did it go? He's talking about using Vortec carbon remover, takes it off as well. And then also you can use actually a pencil eraser, an old school pencil eraser, and it'll help wipe it off. You can use that, that magic eraser, Mr. Clean magic eraser will take it off. But I just found with the Chapstick, I found with the Chapstick, just a little thin layer, shoot it and then wipe it off, get it clean, apply it on there, stick it back in the holster. I mean, that works very well for me. I've never had it melt off, even when I'm sweating or out in the yard working or whatever. I've never had a problem with it dripping off there because I don't put it on there like, slobbing it on there with a spoon. But, it seems to work for me. And I've had some people go, oh, man, that's crazy. You shouldn't do that. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, I've always cleaned I don't know what it is about a number 2 pencil eraser, but it just does the job. That's how I clean mine. I've never done the chapstick thing though, so I learned something tonight. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, the chapstick, literally when you put it on there, the carbon just kind of sticks to it. And a lot of people think if you put a thin layer of chapstick, it's going to distort your, like your light's not going to work as well, but it just goes right through it. It doesn't harm it. I've tried it looking at it with my fence in the dark with the chapstick on and with it completely wiped off. I can't tell the difference in the beam or anything. And I've done it with the turbo. I've done it with my cloud defense. I've done it with all of them, and it doesn't change shit. It looks exactly the same in the dark. So
that's cool.
And unless it's just something I'm not picking up with my human eye, where XRing could probably pick it up in a heartbeat, but I can't. And yeah, I've heard of people putting the gun oil on it and wiping it off and stuff like that too. They have the, some of the, and not a lot of gun oils, but some of the chemicals that you use, you got to be careful with, because glass is porous and you're going to have little, I've kind of given this example before. What's really crazy is you can scrub your windshield to where it looks like glass. I mean, it looks like a diamond. And then what's crazy is you just take a cloth baby diaper and put lighter fluid on it, just squirt lighter fluid on your baby diaper, and then literally wipe your windshield off, and you thought it was clean. Your baby diaper looks like it has mud on it afterwards. It just sucks all that shit out of the pores of that glass. And then like if you're going to treat your windshield with like Rain-X or wax or anything like that, to bead the water off of it, always strip your windshield first before you apply that. And that shit will soak right into pores and it'll last forever. All it is starch. All it is starch. That's what Rain-X is. And what's really crazy, you'll kind of get a little bit of gooping, kind of weird, but you can take a potato, just a regular old potato, and cut it in half and wipe a damn potato on your windshield and it'll bead water because it's starch. So, and ask me how I know this, because on all my old classic cars back in the day, when your vacuum motors would go up for your windshield wiper and your damn wipers wouldn't work, I always kept a potato in the trunk, and it would literally grow roots, and it would have the eyes and be all nasty. I could break that sucker in half, wipe it on my windshield, and then wipe it, and I could get home with not even turning the wiper blades on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just starch.
You're talking about what we were talking about, the weapon lights. It was funny that got brought up because last night I was laying in bed. I was kicked on YouTube and got caught up on all my people that I'm subscribed to. And I just kind of went to the home thing, where they recommend stuff to you. And there was a guy on there. I've never seen anybody do this, but he had white vinegar and he just took a water dropper and he dropped the white vinegar on the lens, and that stuff just pretty much instantly disappeared, and he just took cloth and wiped it off. So I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, for like cleaning stuff for your home, that like if people are allergic to stuff, like some detergents and stuff and cleaning fluids, and like your cleaners to clean your home with, the white distilled vinegar, and water has been around for 1,000 years, and it kills germs. It'll smell vinegary for just a minute, but then it dissipates and goes away. But vinegar, man, can be used for anything. Washing clothes. I mean, it can be used for thousands of things. So, yeah, don't put potatoes on your weapon lights. I'm not. It does work though. But I had a bunch of back in the day, man. When you're restoring cars and stuff, those damn vacuum powered wiper motors were shit, or the gears would break in them. And then your wipers wouldn't work. So you were stuck like Chuck if you didn't have something. So I always kept a potato back there. So it's not a joke. I promise I did it. But when I opened up the trunk, it'd be a really nice 442 classic car or whatever, and have a damn potato with stems growing out of it laying in the back of the trunk. And people are like, what the hell? Throw this damn thing away. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, I need to get a new potato. So, but yeah, it's Rabbi uses KY on his Glocks. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm sorry about that, where it kicked me off. Sometimes the StreamYard thing, it doesn't like me sometimes. And it's just like, hey, that's frees you. I have perfect internet, but sometimes it'll go into these freak out modes.
Yeah, we had that happen to me on one of mine one night. The guys carried it on until I got back. I was out for about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, because it literally froze on my end. I couldn't push any, but I couldn't do shit. I just had to turn it off and.
Yeah, I saw you freeze, and I'm like, then I was still. I'm sitting here doing this, and I'm like, okay, I'm still good, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're. I figured you would be able to carry it on because that has happened before, but it's been a long time. So, but yeah, and as far as what like what you have, do you have anything in the works? I know you're always doing different videos and stuff, but do you have anything like in the works that you want to kind of let it out of the bag or anything like that? I mean, anything that
Yeah, we got. So I got my 1,000-round reviews coming up. The Beretta's APX A1 Tacticals. We're sitting at about 850, 900 rounds through it right now. So I'm going to do 1,000-round review on that. And then the Kiger is getting close. So I'm going to review coming out on that. Tandem Cross came out with a new spring for our TX22 competitions that you and I both have. So I went ahead and ordered that.
Okay.
Obviously, I won't be able to do the install videos anymore like I used to do, but I'll probably maybe throw it over on my Rumble channel or something to help somebody out. But yeah, so I'm gonna be testing that out. Get the trigger pull gauge out. We'll pull the trigger now with the tandem cross trigger it's in it, and we'll see how big a difference it makes with the new spring.
Yeah, because doesn't it decrease it by like 1.5 pounds?
I think they're saying 2 pounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I thought it was pretty good. And I heard you talking about the Icarus Precision grip, for the 365s and stuff. I heard you bringing that up, and other people were asking about it. Anybody that's curious about that, I would just hang on to your money for a little while. And that's all I can say.
Yeah, I've just got the Armory Craft on mine, which is pretty much a stock SIG frame. They just do their stippling work on it and their cuts.
But how everybody's buying the Icarus Precision grip for the 365? If you're thinking about one, you might want to hold off. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
So
there's a really cool one getting ready to come out.
Well, yeah, somebody's fixing to drop something, and it's not aftermarket. So that's all I can say.
Yep. Yeah, Gene's out there. What's up, Gene?
There's Hot Pot. How's the trigger on the Beretta? Lynn Holt is asking you.
Terrible. Yeah. It's a bad trigger. That's probably my biggest gripe with that gun is the trigger, and it's top heavy. I don't know. It's got a really high bore axis on it. It's like it's a $400 Beretta. So I don't want to ding it too much. And it does have the, it's like a 320. It's got the removable trigger, the fire control group and all that. But there's just so many things they did wrong with it. But it's a runner. I mean, the thing will eat. You can put the crappiest ammo in that gun, and it will run anything you put in it. So it's got its good points and its bad points. But I've tried to like it, and it's just not. It's definitely going to probably be one of my least favorite guns I bought this year.
So. Wow. That's I mean, I've heard people say that they love it, and then I've heard people say that, I played around with one, and that's a thick girl. I mean, it's a chunky one.
Yeah, when you remove that slide from the frame, that's kind of what I was trying to explain. Because you get people who they're all Beretta, and it's like you don't say anything bad about Beretta.
Yeah.
But you take that slide off that frame, and it is there is a big weight, heavier weight on that slide than what you will on the majority of your striker fired polymer guns. When you take that slide off, that thing has got a lot more weight to it than pretty much any other gun. And it makes everything feel weird when you're shooting it. It kind of has a sluggish feel to it, and it's super top heavy. But yeah, but it's super reliable. I mean, that gun's going to go bang every time you pull the trigger on it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, like you've probably heard me talk about this. It's been a while, but that's the thing about like the SIG Legions. And I don't know if I'm crazy, but I've always been a field shooter. I was a field golfer. I'm just real big about feel. And when I shoot the X5, I'd be shooting it, and it has like it's weird to explain, but I would call it like like under recoil, and I'm not recoil sensitive, but it has kind of like you shoot it and it kind of does this, and then it comes back down, you shoot it. It's kind of like a flop. It's just weird. And I'm talking even with a monster grip, I just get that little bit of a wave recoil. Yeah. And it's just always been kind of weird. And I'm sure it's the high bore axis with, the length of the slide, but it just, I don't know. And this was the original X5 with an all polymer grip, not the tungsten.
Right.
But it just had that wave recoil, and I was just like, man, I hate this. It just drives me crazy.
I did take I took the guide rod and spring out, and I put a Galloway in it, stainless steel rod and a little bit lighter spring, and I did put a comp on it, and it has helped. It definitely shoots a little better now than it did. But yeah, I'm not going to put any more money into it. It is what it is. It's gonna.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that you can only do so much to something, and then it's like, okay, and then if you want something different or without that feeling, go to a different gun. I mean, it is, it kind of is what it is. But like reloading, saying the tungsten changes everything, and I'm sure that it does. That extra weight, it probably does help with that. But the original one, man, I was just like, this is weird as shit. But and one thing I'm gonna start doing, and I wanted to kind of get some feedback on this to see what people thought about it, but I've been kind of thinking about this for a while, and what I'm going to do, that's another reason I changed my channel name to Big Johnson. I kind of want to just do more things on my channel other than just guns. Of course, I'm still gun related, but I am going to start kind of introducing some car stuff, and like I used to do the truck chat and stuff like that. And, I'm probably going to start doing some more of that stuff, and probably some more shorts and stuff like that. But I'm going to get a little more car related, upfitting related, doing some stuff like that. If y'all are interested in it, let me know, yay or nay. I'd like y'all's input, see if that's something you would watch or something you're like, I'm just here for the guns. That's cool. But, I would like y'all's input if that's something that you're interested in or not. So y'all can sound off and let me know. Or even if you watch this video afterwards, leave a comment or whatever, for the people who are watching it afterwards. I'd like to get some input. Look at this. Chris, what was I talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Abigail, that's what brought this up. Today I was at a shop, and there was a 1971 Olds. It was not a 442. It had the 350 rocket in it. It was candy apple red with a black convertible top. And I used to have a 69 442 candy apple red with the candy apple factory wheels. I painted them candy apple red. And then I did the black vinyl top. Mine was a hard top, but mine was a true 442. So, and I was telling Chris about this. I was like, that's even more reason, where I could do, kind of like shoot a picture of it, kind of do a little talk about it, some stuff like that. But yeah, it wasn't 100% restored, but it was a pretty nice car. So, when I'm out running around and stuff, I could throw some stuff up like that, real quick and let y'all see it if you're interested in it. Chris, you still with me, or did you run away, or you blowing your nose?
Sorry about that. Man, my allergies are killing me tonight. I hate getting up from a chat, but I didn't have a choice.
Yep, no problem. Not a problem at all. Whoops, where'd it go here? But yeah, so I run across stuff like that all the time. So it looks like we're getting some good feedback. A lot of people are saying, yeah, it's good to branch out with life. Yeah, bring up the car stuff. I'm here for the gun talk. Like Ozark, I'll watch the car stuff. Hate shorts though. Yeah, 69 Camaro, 79 Camaro. But yeah, Miss Hotshot. Oh, and congratulate or happy birthday, Miss Hotshot. So I think it was her birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, I just kind of want to branch out in some stuff. I'm also doing some upfitting on my personal truck, so I figured I would kind of throw some stuff out about that if people are interested in it. Some different products I'm switching over to and stuff like that. So show you how I have some stuff set up in case you want to, copy it or give you some ideas. So I kind of like I go through and revamp stuff sometimes, like every 3 to 5 years. So I figured it was time to revamp some stuff.
What kind of truck you got?
I run it's a Ram 4x4 crew cab 5.7 bed.
Okay.
So
I drive I have a Rebel. 19 yep. Rebels what I drive.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big Ram guy. I mean, I've had Chevys, Ford, I've had them all. But yeah, I was an ex-Dodge technician, so I really enjoy them. Some people bitch about them, but trust me, all trucks have issues. I can sit there and, name a bunch that they all have and have characteristics, but they've always done me well. And, if anything happens, I know how to fix them. So.
Yeah, this is my first Ram, and I don't think I'll probably ever go back to another truck. I'll probably stick with Ram from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, Chevy, they're very late to upgrade stuff. Their media sucks, like their, sound systems and stuff. A lot of them are just garbage. I'm not saying every one of them. It just seems like Ram has been ahead of the curve for a long time. Even Fords haven't been that great in the past. They are getting better. But, depending on if you really like the stock stuff, and if you don't, you can change all that stuff now. I mean, there's even retro stuff where you can switch a lot of that out. If your car doesn't have Apple CarPlay, you can put a module in there that gives your factory unit Apple CarPlay. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can change if you don't like things. But, just for the whole setup of the truck, I will say this, and you could probably agree with this. I don't like the little knob shifter. I think
that's hard to get used to.
I think it's cheesy as shit. I think it's just stupid, but I've gotten so used to it, and a lot of people have. I do prefer the center shifter, like it's in the Ford from the column shifter, but that little knob, that was just, I'm not a big fan of that, but it works. So everything has its little stuff. So,
I think my Gladiator had that same shifter in it, if I remember.
Yeah.
I think that was my first one, and yeah, I don't know. It's hard to get used to.
Yeah. I've seen people like Abigail saying, I've seen people pull up and they have their foot on the brake and they're just starting to jump out and the freaking thing's going because they forget to turn the knob. So, I've seen that shit before. Most people are used to pulling a shifter up, but to reach over and grab a knob, or they'll reach over and grab the radio knob, but they think they grab
I've done that.
Yeah. Then they'll jump out and the shit's rolling, so I've seen it all.
Or the heater, your fan control. Everything's like right there. So yeah, I've done it many times. Grab the wrong knob.
Yeah, it's weird. That's what she said. Grab the wrong knob. But yeah, it's just stuff you get used to. But that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves if I have to pick stuff. But the rest of it, I like it, and I don't baby my trucks. I keep them nice and clean and maintenance done and all that other stuff. But, it's four-wheel drive. I've used it many, many times. It's not just a concrete cowboy truck.
Yeah, I like the Rebel. I like a Hemi engine. That thing's got more power than I need.
Well, they're going away from that. This is the last year for the Hemi.
Yeah.
So they're going to the V6 twin turbo. I can't believe the TRX is losing the freaking 6.1. It's going to a V6 turbo, but the level 4. Well, I can talk about it because everybody's released it, but I already knew about it. But it's their level 3 version of that could be pushing up to like 675 horsepower out of V6. So, I mean, they're going to pull a lot of power out of it, but I've always been on the other end of the spectrum. You can have that, fast off the line kind of stuff, but when it comes down to towing and all that other stuff, you definitely need the torque, and it's going to be lacking on torque. So, depends on what you want to do with it, but that's just a reason to buy a freaking diesel if you need monster torque.
Yeah.
So, but it's oh man, I haven't seen a suicide shifter on a motorcycle. I remember those. I hadn't seen those in a long ass time either. Hell, I remember, and maybe you do. I don't know how old you are, but I remember the old cars where it had the vacuum assisted, where you'd push it into park. You push this big button, and it would be park or drive or reverse, and you had to push these freaking big manual long like radio buttons. Yeah, those were cheesy as shit too.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it's probably way before your time, but I remember them because my grandfather would be pushing that damn button in, and I'm like, he didn't have a shifter or anything, just had these damn push buttons, like a big radio, and that's the way you ran it. So, yeah, this is another thing, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Can you drive a manual transmission?
Yeah, my dad wouldn't. My first car had to be a manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't driven one. This is funny you brought that up. So I used to have a guy that worked for me at the company, and his car was parked behind my truck one day, and it was just a little Honda Civic. And I had to run to get a part from the supply house. I didn't have it on my van or the truck at the time. So I jumped in that little Honda, and I hadn't driven a stick shift in years. And I'm telling you what, I had so much fun just out there running through the gears, because that's all I drove growing up was stick shifts. And they're fun. If somebody's never drove one, it's an experience.
It's a great security device if you don't want to get your car stolen, because all the newer kids, a lot of the newer kids don't know how to drive. I don't know how to drive them. So I always thought it was funny, and then when I would teach people how to drive them, they're grinding the gears or, riding the clutch and all that. It was, it was the good old days back then. But, that's like, I think, what is it? I know a lot of the Jeep people, like with the Jeep Cherokee or the Jeep wagon, or God dang it, Wranglers.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would always say, oh yeah, nobody will steal my Jeep because it's a manual and nobody knows how to drive them. So I always thought that was pretty funny. So, but anything you want to advertise or anything? It's almost 8:30, so we'll go ahead and shut this bad boy down. But anything you've got coming up that you want to advertise for?
I just got a new video dropping tomorrow from the 1,000-yard range I was at in Pennsylvania. I think next week we got the Gideon Optics rock video reviews coming out.
Cool.
And, man, thanks for having me on, man. I had so much fun tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I always enjoy, having you on. I'm sorry that freaking StreamYard did that, thing. But yeah, I appreciate you holding down the fort too. But yeah, it's always a good time to have you on. You're welcome back anytime. Always good to, shoot the crap with you and see what's going on. What I have, and I, kind of was talking to Chris about it, but I've got, the new staccato part. I will be doing something on it this weekend. Got to put in the review. I've still been testing it, been carrying it every day, making sure all my, I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Because I want to give everybody a fair shake on it. And I'll tell you the good and the bad and the ugly and all that other stuff. But so that'll be coming out. I'll probably get it finished up this weekend and get that out for you. And then, like I said, I think I'm going to be doing some car stuff and even still more gun stuff. I've had a lot of requests for kind of going back and visiting some ones that I haven't shot in a while. So I'm going to be doing some of that stuff too. Kind of are they relevant now kind of things? What are my thoughts? Blah, blah, blah. Would I still run that gun, this gun? I've had a lot of people asking about that. So I said I would do that. So I am. But, always a great time. I appreciate all the family members out there in the chat, keeping everything going, and y'all like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, and of course, please go over and check out Chris. His link is in the description and also at the top of the chat here in the comments. So please go over there and subscribe to him if you haven't already. Always a good time having him on. So I appreciate you so much, sir, for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, you got an awesome following out in the side chat too. I love it when people are asking you a lot of questions. That makes this show even more fun.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a lot of the same family members, so that's always a great thing. And I pick up some of yours, you pick up some of mine. So, like I said, it's always a great thing. I love kicking on the chat, and this is why I do the chat, is because we've got so many diehards. They make it all happen. It's not about me; it's really about them. I just kind of tell stories, and not made up ones, but just kind of tell my opinions, and get their opinions, and kind of mesh it together. So nobody's wrong or right with whatever they want to do or I want to do. This is America. So everybody, please do what you want to do. Carry what you want to carry. So, but just carry, but I appreciate y'all so much. Chris, stay on for a second. We'll go ahead and shut this down, everybody. Y'all have a great night. Thanks so much. And remember, an unarmed nation is a very weak nation. So we all got to carry on. Y'all take care.